Joe.
Professor Eric over here. How you doing, guys?
And over the next couple weeks, I was thinking for the JKD segment of going over some of the Silat.
Cool stuff.
Silat is Indonesian grappling based on the use of a knife. A lot of times we omit that when we're just showing the sweeps and takedowns and all that good stuff. But Guru Dan integrated it into JKD, his JKD system, years and years ago. Like, we're talking more than 3 decades. Ever since I've known the guys who do Silat. You have to go back to like the late 70s. Some of his students, late 70s, early 80s. Cass Magda, actually even him, Cass did Silat. Christopher Kent is like a JKD guy. But everybody from the future, like Eric Paulson, Rick Fay, all those guys, they actually, Greg Nelson has a really good Silat background. So it's just functional takedowns. And the story that Guru always tells, Guru Dan, is that, because people object, and they're like, you can't add stuff to JKD, which is funny, because Bruce Lee always said,
the whole like the whole point.
Exactly. Bruce Lee always said, add what is uniquely your own, and take away what you deem inessential. And a lot of people probably know this by now, but I'll share it anyway, is that Bruce Lee bought Guru Dan his first Silat book. And he was like, here, you should check this out. And they were just researchers. They were like into everything. But I think for the most part, what he was looking for and why he's continued to study like Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and he's got his black belt in that under the Machados, is he's looking for an answer at like every range of combat. So, you know, the guy studied catch wrestling and Muay Thai and knees and elbows and all that. And it's just one more piece of the puzzle. You know, if you look at Wing Chun, like we've been doing some trapping drills lately, if I'm here, am I in elbow range?
Nope.
No. So, let's incorporate Muay Thai. All right, now it's time to knee and elbow. Well, now what am I adjacent to? Well, if I go forward, now we can go into like the takedown arena. So, one thing to be on the lookout for, because Silat's kind of one of those arts that's kind of mysterious, almost like Jiu-Jitsu, where everyone claims to have it.
But a lot of people do it poorly.
Yeah, you watch them and you're like, I've even seen people call it Silat, and they'll wear the Taekwondo gear, and they're literally just here punching and kicking, because the term is reference to an indigenous art, and anything that's a family system can be called Silat in Indonesia. So as wealth comes into the country and Taekwondo takes off, that's why you see that.
That's happening in the Philippines.
Exactly, yeah. You have a hard time finding Filipino martial arts in the Philippines anymore, because Taekwondo came in, it's commercialized, and you're a person of status because you have the gi and the belt and all that. So where am I going with this? One thing that I see far and away as the biggest mistake in the Silat community is the range. People try to do it from a kickboxing distance. And there are long-range takedowns, and these can be kicks. But that should be used sparingly. It shouldn't be like from the outset. So I'll see like a lot of people, like, you feed me any kind of jab, anything you want, and they'll be here, and they'll say, oh, I'm gonna push the person over, and if he lets me do it, and maybe I can kick your leg out, but 9 times out of 10, it's not gonna work. It's just like, if Professor Eric's gonna do a double leg, and he shoots off my jab, what kind of range does he need to solidify the double leg? So there's long range takedowns, but think about that sentence in general, long range takedown. Like, even like what Kale was talking about, we have a really good guy here, he helped coach the Colombian Olympic team a few times. He was talking about running in a circle, but he still ended up with a low single.
For sure.
So to do a takedown, you gotta be close. All right, what's the next thing? And I promise to quit talking, is any good takedown has 2 motions. It's got an off-balancing or anchoring motion, and then the throwing motion. So if Eric does any other kind of takedown to me here, he's gonna disrupt my base first, then he's gonna do the takedown. That's nice. So if you think about like, you do basic judo, right? If I want to do a hip toss, I don't just pick him up because I cannot do it. So I shift the base first, then I can do the throw. All right. So those are your key elements: an off-balancing motion and a throwing or sweeping motion. So the first one I'm going to start with is the basic sapu, which is an inside foot sweep in Silat. And we're just going to walk the floor, and then over the next couple weeks, I'll give you 4 of these basics, and then you can just kind of drill them on your own and make each one better and better and better. But we're going to start with no hand movement,
Sure.
no resistance from the partner, except for he's not going to fake it and let me move his body around unless I do the work. So he's going to start with a lead. I'm going to start with my feet at like the point of a triangle, like a female triangle. See, there's one side here and one side here. If I hold up my knee, I can hit his quad. So that's the measurement. So if I take one step, I'm already in his space, affecting his balance. So already you can see that's a lot different than
For sure.
like this kind of idea
That's
here.
not gonna happen.
Yeah. So when I step in, we're shin to shin. See, I pushed him laterally. Now the sweeping motion is going to be back this way, 45 degrees. I'm not going to try to like dump him or anything. He's going to step back.
You gotta step back to this one.
And now all I want you to do is just take your time, adjust to the other side, measure, don't worry about the hands. So I'm going to push him forward. I'm going to slide the hand across his back. If I was really tall, it could go up to the neck as well. And now he should feel pressure, and then I pull the leg, and then he steps back. So remember, this is a knife-oriented system. So a lot of times, we don't really want him to fall, even if he's here. See, if I had like the karambit, I could push the leg down and hit the vital target. But it's not meant to be like MMA takedowns or wrestling takedowns, that kind of thing. The takedowns revolve around striking. So another way to look at it, if we do one more here, is I come up, I do the same thing. I just want a little stumble to be able to follow up. If he hits the floor, we always talk about that connection, then that opportunity is not there. So it's not necessarily a takedown or a sweep that always dumps the person, but it might just make their base sprawl out so you can follow up. Okay, so let's do one more from the other end. Okay, so 3 ways to do this is one, the first one is the toughest, is ankle to ankle or foot to foot. So you can see my foot is biting his ankle. That's the worst one. If you have a non-cooperative partner, they're always going to say they can pull their leg out. It's really a kick, right?
Yeah.
So it should be hard to pull the leg out. Can you give me the same leg again?
Sure.
Another way to do it is to kind of bring the knee and the shin together here. This is harder to step through. So see, I shift the balance and then I drag it. Okay, and then the last one almost always works, but you want to practice the foot one individually so you get good at the balance, the timing, and the forward. So when I'm here, this is really a heavy knee to the quad. So maybe we'll do both sides. So as I go here, now I'm just going to step my leg through.
Yeah, that's
and that would be the
that's
throw.
good. That's good.
So if we face this way. Yeah, I had the misfortune of saying I don't get how this move works, and could somebody show me? Because I didn't get that it was a knee, and then the guy goes, "Oh yeah, boom, man," and your leg just goes like sailing.
For sure.
So I'm just here. I do the same thing, but I go thigh to thigh. Now, even without kneeing my partner, just being gentle, so you get a lot of lift off that motion.
Yeah, so that's the same thing as like just an arm drag and like catching that knee right there.
Yeah,
It's the
exactly.
Same exact thing.
Yeah, and a lot of things cross over, and I'm sure there's wrestling.
Just effectiveness. It's
Yeah,
just being
whatever's.
how you. And you, I've looked first because I was like, oh, this is really cool stuff, and nobody really has any understanding.
Yeah, it's really hard to find.
Yeah, it's
I don't know. If you
crazy.
want to look up somebody, I'll put it in the description. But the Dutoit brothers were really, really good. They're a Dutch family that was from Indonesia because you have the influence of the Dutch in that region.
boxing and stuff.
So they're Dutch Indonesians. Their family's generationally in Indonesia, but their ethnicity traces back to the Dutch. But those people became part of Indonesian culture as well. And then you have Herman Sawanda, who's another one of Inasano's teacher. And then Stephen Plink's uncle, Eddie Joffrey. And you can find some old footage of these guys floating around YouTube if you really, really, really dig. But it'll be like 1 or 2 moves.
Yeah.
And again, it's like jiu-jitsu, right? Like, how many times have you seen like Master Pedro Sauer show a move, but then when he does it to you, you
It's
have a
completely different.
completely different feel.
And he'll even like omit, like he'll take away details, and you feel it, and you're just like, oh, that's completely different than what.
Yeah, it's like magic, man. How do you do that? So tactile arts, unfortunately, you have to have a tactile teacher. So if you don't have time in with somebody who can get you to feel it, it can be really hard to assimilate purely from video. But we'll do our best. So that's the first sweep, the sapu on the inside, or we just call it in English inside foot sweep. And there, I'll give you 3 more over the next couple weeks, and then a way to drill them and improve them. And then maybe we'll go back to like partner drills and we can implement the footwork and stuff like that too.
Oh,
Cool.
sounds good.
Thank you guys.
Good stuff. It's really cool.
For sticking with us. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe to the channel. I notice a few
Absolutely.
more people every time we post a video, and I really appreciate the community. If you guys have any questions, please let us know, and we'll be back soon with some more Kali and Jiu-Jitsu as well. Warriors,
Warriors out.